They say the ocean never forgets. Its waves may kiss the shore with gentleness, but in its depths lie secrets too ancient, too powerful, and far too dangerous for human hands. Some say the sea keeps count of every child taken, every promise broken, and every offering refused. And when the balance is broken, it always comes back to collect. In a forgotten African village by the coast, where red clay cliffs met restless waters, there lived a woman named Nael. To outsiders, the village of Nkanka was nothing more than a fishing settlement. But to its people, it was their entire world. Every hut faced the ocean, as though both fearing and worshipping it. The sea was their provider and their judge. Generations ago, the ancestors of Nkanka had struck a pact with the water spirits. They would honor the sea with offerings, keep its stories alive, and in return, the waters would feed and protect them. Every new moon, the villagers carried baskets of fruit, fish, and woven flowers to the shoreline, whispering prayers into the tide. Their chants told of the Mami Wata, spirits said to guard treasures, punish arrogance, and sometimes take what was never freely given. Nael knew these stories well, but they did little to ease the ache inside her. She was not old, yet sorrow had carved lines on her face. Her husband had abandoned her years ago when no child came. Since then, she lived alone in a small hut near the edge of the village, where the ocean's roar was loudest. In Kanka, family meant survival. Children grew to mend nets, sailboats, and care for the old. Without a child, Nael's hut was silent, her future uncertain. Mothers pitied her, but whispers soon grew sharp. Some said she was cursed, that her womb had been sealed by spirits. Others avoided her, fearful that to share her shadow was to invite misfortune. Nael bore the shame in silence. Yet each night she prayed before her fire until her throat was raw and her eyes stung with smoke. She prayed for a child, not only to silence the whispers, but to give her life meaning. And then the sea answered. It began with whispers, strange cries in the night that drifted through her dreams. Then at first, like the mew of a newborn carried on the wind. Then clearer, closer, until she woke one night to find wet footprints pressed in the sand outside her door. Small, delicate, like those of a child. The villagers dismissed her fears. The sea has always spoken, they said. Perhaps it mocks your loneliness. But Nael felt the truth deep in her bones. The ocean was not mocking her. It was calling her. One night, under a swollen moon, the cry became a desperate wail. Lantern in hand, Nael followed the sound to the shoreline. The tide thrashed against the rocks, and there, tangled in seaweed, lay a bundle no larger than her arms. Her hands shook as she lifted it. Inside was a baby. Its skin glistened as though slick with seawater. Its eyes reflected the moonlight, too bright, too knowing, and yet it cried like any newborn, its voice trembling with life. Nael collapsed to her knees, tears streaming. She whispered thanks to the spirits, believing her prayers had been answered. The sea had given her a child. She named him Sephu, meaning gift. For the first time in years, Nael's hut was filled with laughter and life. She walked through the village with her head held high, rocking her son in her arms. But the elders watched carefully. They saw his damp skin, his two bright eyes, the way his cries sounded almost like song. And though they said nothing, their silence was heavy. The villagers' unease soon turned to fear. The fishermen returned with empty nets. Storms rose without warning, capsizing boats. Nets tore as if ripped by unseen hands. "The sea has turned against us," they murmured, and their eyes drifted toward Nael's hut. One morning, a boy wandered too close to the waves. His laughter echoed, then vanished. His footprints ended at the tide. His body was never found. That night, whispers turned to accusations. Ever since you brought that child, the sea has demanded more. Nael clutched Sephu to her chest. "He is mine. The ocean blessed me." But in her heart, fear took root. At night, she sometimes woke to find the cradle empty, Panic would grip her until she found him outside, lying in the sand, giggling at the waves that reached for him. Her doors had been locked, her windows barred. Still, he found his way to the sea. She carried him back each time, shivering as she smelled the salt water dripping from his tiny fingers. When the new moon came, the villagers gathered to offer gifts, but the tide rejected them, hurling baskets of fruit and fish back onto the sand. Gasps filled the crowd. Never before had the ocean refused their offerings. The elders fell to their knees, weeping. The spirits are angry. The child must be returned. But Naya would not yield. He is mine. I prayed, and the sea answered. I will not give him back. That night, the beach was littered with dead fish. The stench of rot filled the air. Dogs refused to eat. Children gagged. Fear turned to fury. If she will not return him, we will, the villagers swore. Nael fled into the forest with Sephu pressed to her chest. The trees whisper with voices not her own. Give him back. Give him back. Shadows shifted, stretching long and twisted. Still, she would not surrender. When she returned at dawn, the villagers recoiled from her as if she carried death itself. Calamity followed her everywhere. Storms tore through Nkanka, drowning livestock. A young girl vanished, found later on the shore, alive but hollow-eyed, staring endlessly at the waves. The people cried out in terror. That child is not hers. That child is not human. And yet, Nael could not let him go. Then came the night of reckoning. The wind stilled. The ocean lay black and mirror-like, reflecting a swollen moon. Silence gripped the village. The people hid in their huts, fires burning low. All felt it. The sea was waiting. Inside her hut, Nael held Sephi close. His eyes glowed faintly in the firelight. He no longer cried, no longer cooed, only stared unblinking, as if listening to a voice she could not hear. The air thickened with the smell of salt, and then it began. Singing, low at first like the hum of a tide, then swelling into a chorus both beautiful and terrible. It was no human song. It wove through the night, pulling at her very bones. Sephi stirred. His lips parted, and from his throat came a sound no infant should make. He joined the song. Nael's blood froze. "No," she whispered, clutching him tighter. "You are mine." The door rattled under unseen hands. Water seeped across the floor, extinguishing the fire. Darkness swallowed the room. Dozens of eyes glowed in the water, circling like predators. Shadows twisted on the walls. Half human, half something else. Nael screamed and flung the door open, but the village was gone. In its place, water endless and rising. Her hut drifted on the open sea. Figures rose from the depths, merfolk, their bodies glistening with scales, their faces both beautiful and monstrous. One stepped forward, hair trailing like kelp, eyes burning cold. Her voice cut through the air. "You hold what belongs to us." Nael fell to her knees. "He is mine." I prayed, I begged, and the ocean answered. The mermaid smiled. The ocean does not give. It only lends. And when it lends, it always takes more. With a gesture, the wave surged, nearly tearing the child from her arms. Sephi writhed, his skin slick, his gills fluttering open. His eyes gleamed with recognition, not for her, but for them. "No!" Nael screamed. "He is mine." But the song rose, a roar that shook the sea. Water coiled around her legs, dragging her down. Sephi slipped from her grasp, twisting with unnatural strength. For a heartbeat, his tiny hands clutched hers, then let go. She watched helpless as the merfolk embraced him. His laughter rang across the waves, cold and unearthly. The sea swallowed Nael. Her screams echoed once, then vanished into silence. By dawn, the storm had passed. The ocean lay calm, glittering in the sun. But the village of Nkanka was gone. Where once huts had stood, there was only sand and broken wood. as if the sea had erased every trace. Some say the villagers who fled inland still hear the ocean sing at night. They whisper that Niall's cries ride the tide, a warning to all who listen. The ocean never forgets. And when it gives, it always takes more. And that, my friends, is a tale. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more spine-chilling African tales, and share it with those who dare to listen in the dark.